Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Sunday morning to you all. Hope you guys are feeling well this morning and have been having a great weekend out there so far and a great start to your Sunday, as always, for your August 7th. I got you an update weather-wise on what is likely going to unfold today. Pretty quiet day. There will be a flooding risk. There will be a severe thunderstorm risk, but I feel like that's every day in the summer, and that's really every day in the spring also. But we're going to break this down, try to figure it out. Then stay tuned. I'm going to briefly mention it here towards the beginning of the video, but we're going to give you an update on the tropics too. Pretty quick, but should be a good update also. So there was, I would say, one change I want to mention from overnight and just some actual observations that's going on right now. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. Definitely consider joining the channel. It's a way to support what I do monthly. Trying to get back to that 20 members, maybe by the end of the month, maybe by the end of September. It's a big goal of mine. Just trying to definitely get some more members, but I really appreciate people who just watch and support me. Hit me up on social media. It's a great way to follow along, especially when things get much more active. I have not been able to answer the comments from last night, so if you're wondering why, I just have not got to it this morning. Got a lot going on, watching the kids, things like that. But definitely just hang in there for me, and I'll definitely acknowledge all the comments a little bit later this morning. So if you guys got anything I can pray about, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. And we can all glorify God and look out for one another while we do it. So let's get rolling this morning. Water vapor loop, there's a lot of rain falling in southern Minnesota and northern Iowa this morning, well south of Minneapolis. There's a flooding risk ongoing right now. In fact, there's a flash flooding risk that we're going to talk about a little bit. You got a moist air mass basically over the entire eastern U.S. Normally when you see these lighter colors in white, that indicates some pretty moist air, wet air. Definitely feels humid out there for sure. So we'll talk a little bit about that, which will help aid in some storms today. You notice the Storm Prediction Center, there's not really a huge risk for severe weather really anywhere. You got these little pockets of marginal risk areas that you watch out for. Well, a marginal risk for severe weather, level 1 out of 5. But I'm not expecting a very active day as far as severe weather. But finally, maybe Texas is finally starting to close in. Maybe a storm or two in areas of Texas today, but we'll talk about that. And then the rest of the country that you see in the light green is just a general risk of storms. Excessive rainfall outlook, will really watch out for this morning. There is at least a 40% chance of flash flood guidance being met in this red area. So this is ongoing right now. There's flash flood warnings ongoing right now. So flooding is an issue this morning. In fact, you look at a radar scope and all the rain is mostly south of Minneapolis, but you have some flash flood warnings in these green counties. But this is the big old blob of rain right here that's generally moving this way. Will continue to probably diminish, but probably reform back over here a little bit later this morning. So we'll watch that for sure. And then the National Hurricane Center update. I think there's an 8 a.m. update. There is. So an 8 a.m. update. This is now a 40% chance of developing. We'll talk a little bit about some model guidance here towards the end of the video if y'all are interested. But there is a 40% chance of development within the next 5 days. So it has increased from the video I made last night. In fact, it increased about 30 minutes later after I dropped the video. I hate when that happens because I give you guys old data, but it just happens sometimes. But anyways, now you got the orange, what we call the orange out here, code orange, a 40% chance of developing. So it's increasing. So are we going to have Danielle? Are we not? I'm going to talk about that here in a second. But watches and warnings, heat advisories right in the heart of the country for a lot of counties in Missouri, for probably about 50-60% of Kansas, a good little chunk of Oklahoma. And then you got the flood watches up, and then the flood warnings, and then the flash flood warnings in a couple counties in the red. So you continue to have the flood watches up for areas of West Virginia, eastern Kentucky, a few counties in Ohio, where flooding will be a risk if you get any kind of rain. And that's why they're continuing to uphold and continuing to have the flood watches up, because any rain is probably not a good thing. So we hope no rain falls in this area. But check out all these heat advisories up here in New England, southern New England, all the way up into the down east areas of Maine, even into the valley areas of Vermont, New Hampshire, New York State. It's going to be a hot day today. It really is, and we'll talk about that also. But southeast, let's talk about how this rain could unfold today. There's going to be pop-up showers and storms. Today is going to be your classic day. Yesterday was really your classic day. I made a post. Of course, if you guys follow me on Twitter and sometimes on Facebook, but especially on Twitter, I like to have a little bit of fun. I like to throw a little bit of humor with my weather content. If you guys follow me on there, then you know. But we definitely got some good beneficial rain here in my neck of the woods. Picked up almost an inch of rain yesterday. That's the most rain we've seen in probably almost a month, and we got it all in about a 2-hour span. So it just happens like that sometimes. But anywhere from southern Louisiana through the entire deep south, the Carolinas, up to Virginia, this entire area could see pop-up showers and storms today. They'll be outflow boundary driven, meaning these storms will pop up, shoot off some rain-cooled air, and then that rain-cooled air will initialize more storms around it. Definitely, like I said, follow me on Twitter. Twitter link is on the YouTube page. You'll learn a good bit. There's a lot of other good weather people to follow on there too. I know everybody's not big on Twitter. The politics irritate people and just drama does, and I get it. Trust me, I have all that stuff muted and blocked out on my Twitter because I don't really care about any of it, to be honest with you. But I'm just on there for the weather and a little bit of sports. I love my Gamecock football. But anyways, you're going to have a lot of pop-up shower and storm activity today. So it's going to be that day where you look on your weather app and it says there might be just a 20 to maybe 40% chance of storms today. And you're thinking, well, that's not a high chance of storms. But you just don't know when that storm's going to pop up right on top of you. Temperatures today, just your classic late summer day. It really is. 90s for areas, 80s for others. And then the storms will pop up and then cool people down today. So really just 80s and 90s for anywhere really generally in the southeast today. The northeast actually might be hotter than the southeast today, but we'll watch for some storms a little bit later today, just the daytime heating. Maybe some storms in Massachusetts today, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and maybe areas of central to eastern Pennsylvania, and then probably southern areas of New York State. Even down in northern Virginia, really the entire state of Virginia, some storms could form and quickly be strong potentially, but not widespread or anything like that. Then some storms could work their way into the down east areas and just some showers into northern Maine, certainly possible. And we'll watch some storm activity in the Ohio Valley too. But check out these temperatures today, very hot, well into the 90s along the I-95 corridor, stretching all the way through the Delmarva, New Jersey, areas of southeast Pennsylvania will be very hot today. New York City will be very hot. New York City and Boston will be hotter than some towns and cities in the southeast today. Boston probably will reach the mid-90s today. And then you can actually tell where the valleys are. Well, to get very warm across areas that aren't as high in elevation. And then watch out Buffalo, Rochester, New York, Binghamton. Maybe getting into the 90s today. Very hot day. Very hot into Detroit. Eastern areas of Michigan and the Ohio Valley will be very hot today. And then some widespread 90s also in Maine. So very, very warm in the Northeast. My folks here in the South Central U.S. who are begging for the rain. Maybe a pop-up shower or two is possible in South Central Texas. But widespread rains are not going to happen today. But certainly it's possible that somebody could get a pop-up shower or storm or two here in this area of Texas. So we'll watch that. General risk for storms. And we'll hope for that. That's for sure. Temperatures. Just a scorcher, especially into Kansas. Well, it'll get well into the hundreds, but there's a big-time boundary. Heck, even if you're in far northwest areas of Kansas, only maybe into the 80s. There's just a big, tight boundary up here. Nebraska, much cooler today, unless you're in southeast Nebraska. But anywhere points south into Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Missouri, Louisiana, well into the 90s. But, of course, you've seen much hotter temperatures this year. In fact, I do not see widespread 100-degree readings in Texas today, which is good news at least. This will probably be the most active region today in the north central U.S. where you already have a lot of rain falling. More rain will continue. This will work its way into areas of northern Illinois if it's not already there this morning, southern Wisconsin, maybe some storm activity early this afternoon in Chicago, and then maybe some more showers and storms develops behind this area into the same regions, and just a rainy day in areas of Minnesota, especially northern Minnesota, more so just a consistent rain, really, honestly. But then maybe some storms. The HRRR model likes some storms firing up a little bit later tonight. I'm talking about around midnight, points after. Maybe some storms. Maybe a strong storm or two works its way through the entire state of Wisconsin. And then I think a really rainy late night, early morning hours into the UP of Michigan, and then working its way into the entire state of Michigan as you're waking up for your Monday morning. Definitely a soggy start. Certainly possible to likely at this point. Rain, cooled air, and just really just cooler air in general with troughing up here, staying cooler in the Dakotas and Minnesota. Just a kind of rainy, almost kind of really early fall-like day in Minnesota, where it'll just be kind of rainy into the 70s and 60s. But very hot. The further south you go, there's a big boundary of where it's really hot and then comfortable, certainly there. Let's talk about the what's going on in the tropics really quick. We need to back this up. I'm really too far ahead. And here you go. I can tell you the GFS continues to like the idea of a stronger system. By the time we get into around Wednesday afternoon, we have a sub 1,000 millibar low pressure. That indicates probably a tropical storm per the GFS. That would be Tropical Storm Danielle. And this is working its way, maintaining tropical storm conditions for about a day and a half before weakening, enters a more hostile environment where there's higher shear and more dry air, and really just becomes a non-factor after that. What's interesting with this system is it's our first system to talk about in a while, first trackable system in a while. So that's the GFS. You look at the European, and you'll back this up. A European, this is about the same day, about midday Wednesday, about midday to early afternoon this coming Wednesday. And, you know, when the GFS has a sub 1,000 millibar low pressure, which would indicate probably a tropical storm, the European still has a 10-11 millibar low pressure, which is probably a depression or a tropical wave. And the European still just doesn't like the idea of this really developing into anything. But I will tell you, if you look at satellite out here, way out in the eastern tropical Atlantic, if we were trying to figure out what's verifying better in the now term, it's the GFS. The GFS likes the idea of this maintaining a vigorous tropical wave status. The European has this weak throughout the entire life of whatever this is. So the GFS is actually verifying better than the European in the more now term, which is right now, with just vigorous explosions of big time convection popping off with this wave. So if this maintains, you got to lean a little bit more towards the GFS, which would bring us our first, would bring us Tropical Storm Danielle in the next probably 48 hours, 48 to 72 hours. So interesting. I might drop a video tonight. I might not. Just depends on a couple things. But anyways, God bless all y'all. Y'all have a great Sunday, and I'll talk to y'all again when I talk to y'all again.